Hey, it's Andrew Malkoski, and I'm here again with Ty McConnell. We are talking home inspections, a kind of a big deal topic here in the middle of home buying. Right, we've got a home buyer who's real excited about the house that they just put under contract, and now comes the first big hurdle: will we get through inspection? And couple of things that I like to tell my clients about this, because one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear all the time about inspection is, will it pass inspection? And it's not a pass fail sort of deal.
It's not.
It's not at all. It's what I like to tell people is, like, you're a house doctor, right? Um, you go for your annual physical to your physician so that you can get an idea of the health of your body, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what you're doing for the house.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving us, this is the current health of the house as it sits right now.
Correct.
So no pass fail.
There's no pass fail, and yeah, it's understanding what is the health. Is my heart, my ticker, is the furnace working well, or is it kind
Right.
of on its last leg? Does it need some service? Those kinds of things.
Sure. So with that, I'd love to know. Your job is just to go through and tell us this is what's going on,
Yes.
right? It's not necessarily to assign how big of a deal everything is. You need to make sure people are educated on the problems you find, big and small.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the biggest real red flags that you find? Like, that you're finding this and you're telling the homeowner, look, you need to be concerned.
Probably the number one, especially in our market, are bad flips.
Yeah.
They look great, like nice finishes, but did they upgrade the systems appropriately? Did they bring things to current safety standards that we would expect when you update a home? Things like that I'm going to be looking at. I'm not the code enforcer, but I have a good understanding of that. And at the end of the day, I want you to understand what is going on with the home. What are the issues that might affect my pocketbook? What are the issues that affect my safety and my family's safety? And those are the big ones. So for instance, on flips, they may look great, but then when we look at it, was the work done by somebody who's competent?
Yeah.
A lot of times we're finding that's not happening.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean because they pulled permits or didn't. It really just comes down to looking at the work. Has it been done properly and safely? And is it going to become a maintenance issue for you down the road for certain reasons, because it wasn't built appropriately or properly? They didn't consider the other systems that it interacts with, those kinds of things.
Interesting. Are there any specific systems that, if you find something wrong, that is a real big red flag for you, like how in the home systems?
I wouldn't say, it's more of like, I look at it as, how are they taking care of it? What are the systems? I look at every home inspection as, what is this home story? Where is it at? Is it a young home? I guess if we go with the body analogy,
Sure.
Has this home been taken care of? Has it been eating right and things like that?
Right.
Have we been going to the doctor and having our teeth cleaned and things like that? Those are like the service parts of it.
Right.
So it's hard to really point on it, but I think it's more of, be aware of flips that look great, but then the infrastructure, the stuff underneath it isn't good. It's like, what's a good analogy of something that looks great but inside is not?
Put a lot of makeup and a toupee on it, and turns out underneath it,
Yes.
a lot of problems.
Yes.
All right. I think that's fair. And I think that it brings up a really good point for homeowners, not necessarily home buyers, but homeowners, right? The importance of routine maintenance on the property. Making sure that you have a professional HVAC person come and evaluate and make sure that everything's working correctly, so that you can have things maintained instead of replaced, right?
If you ever do an inspection with me, you're going to hear me, and I'm going to harp on this because of how important it is to your pocketbook. It's not just, I should maintain it, but for furnaces, I love to use the analogy of a car. Most people know how to take care of a car. You change the oil and you take it in for the major services. Today's world, that's good enough, and cars will last 40, 50 years if you do that. But if you don't, 10, 15 years, you're having issues. The engine's going, things like that, because you're not maintaining it.
Yeah.
The furnace is a great example, and I use the filter
Yeah.
is your oil change. And those things, we don't want to spend a lot of money on them. The idea is that we're trying to remove the particulate that's in the system and then get it out and throw it away. So buy a cheap filter and increase the frequency with which you replace it.
Yeah.
If it's a 1-inch filter, we're always going to recommend replace it once a month with a cheap filter with a MERV rating that is lower than 10. So it's in the single digits. It's not going to be very restrictive, and that's going to help you maintain your furnace. You're also not restricting the air to make it work harder, like loading it with a trailer all the time. And then the other is to have a technician come out and service both your furnace and your AC, the condenser on the outside.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll find a $1 part that is not working properly, and you replace that part, and that's how you get the long life out of your system. Right now, replacement costs for HVA systems, heating and cooling, easily get in the $20,000 range. So it behooves you to do those kind of maintenance things on your home so that you're not replacing every 15 years and you're more on a 30 to 40 year replacement cycle.
Right. And I think so many times people don't do the maintenance because of the cost, not understanding the deferred maintenance.
Yeah, the deferred maintenance is one of the biggest costs that you will incur in a home when it just goes too far. So, replacing your filter is going to be the most important thing on your furnace.
Yeah.
And then I highly recommend having it serviced every year by a technician.
The other one that I always see a lot of is paint. I always tell my clients when they're buying a home, I go, plan to paint your house every 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Because that is the first line of defense from the exterior getting into your home.
Yeah,
And if
we call it the exterior enclosure, and keeping that watertight is extremely important.
Yeah, I mean, and just nobody likes doing it. Nobody likes having to pay to have your house painted. But
if
it is important.
One of the other things is on paint. A flat surface is not going to wear, but this corner, this edge right here, is going to wear. And most of our siding has this kind of a profile. So you can also do things like touch up your trim, but not the whole house. And then you're not doing as frequent full paints, and it'll last a lot longer. And then you're also having to replace, wood trim and things like that that then start to deteriorate and decay.
Yeah. Some great stuff here. I appreciate you hanging out and chatting with us. If you have any home questions, especially when it comes down to an inspection, by all means, give my friend Ty a call. Thanks, guys.